Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Life Start Sit Hour. Happy Week 17 Championship Sunday. We made it, everybody. Hopefully, you aren't already down in the dirt, courtesy of Mr. King Henry. But hey, either way, America loves a comeback. Time to get those lineups right ahead of the rest of the slate. That said, Chris, already getting unfortunate news here in this lovely AM. Tedro McMillan now questionable with an illness. Yeah, not great. They haven't got some weather to worry about. But all that aside, how you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. Merry Christmas to you, good sir, and Merry Christmas to all the rest of the folks that are fighting for championships and happen to check out the show today. I know we've got a lot of news and stuff to get to. Hopefully, you're not too far behind in your matchups after all the games that we've seen so far this weekend. But if anything, we're here to help and hopefully get you to a championship today.
Amen to all of that, my friend. So again, in terms of just guys that we need to be actively worried about ahead of game time, it sounds like it really is mostly just Tedero McMillan now, guys. Ricky Parasol is rather surprisingly, I would at least say, expecting to play here on Sunday night. George Kittle is not. Devontae Adams now expecting to play Monday night. We got Bayshaw Toot and Theo Johnson also already ruled out. Guys who will be playing, Ashton Genty, shouldn't have been any doubt, but the Raiders obviously benching half their team, probably in an effort to get that number one overall pick, but Genty will be out there. Trayvon Henderson has cleared the concussion protocol and will play. He is now a top 13 running back. Ramondre Stevenson back in that RB3 mix. Chris Olave is good to go. Marvin Harrison is good to go, but they did give us a snap count caveat, so take that for what it's worth. Harold Fannin good to go after scaring the crap out of all of us yesterday with that groin injury popping up. Drake London, and also for the Colts defense, Sauce Gardner good to go as well. So again, we'll see what happens, Chris. Everyone's getting sick these times of years, but tentatively expecting most guys to be out there. We were just saying right before the show started, I mean, guys, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's only 2 4:00 games. I usually get pissed off at there only being 3, and now we've only got 2, Chris. So luckily, Tedro McMillan's game is not in that late afternoon window. If he is out of the picture, certainly would be a nice little boon from one Jalen Coker.
Exactly. That'd be how I'd be playing it as well. Just we've seen so much from Coker, not just as their slot man, but Bryce Young really looking for him in those third, fourth down matchups with him being able to beat man press coverage for some explosives down the sideline. So if we do see McMillan at the very worst limited in that game, Coker would probably be the best pass catching option for the Panthers if they want to take over the NFC South.
Before we get to your start sit questions, guys, I want to quickly go through some of the weather ramifications because my guy Chris here is the best in the business with this. And also want to give a shout out to another best in the business, Mr. Kevin Roth over at Roto Grinders. Again, rotogrinders.com/weather/NFL. Really cut and dry list. I check it out before I set my lineups every single Sunday. Chris, it does seem like, there's a handful of games, the Saints, Titans, Cardinals, Bengals, Patriots, Jets, where, yeah, it's late December. It's not ideal weather, but not really massive downgrades warranted. The two that maybe we do have to be a little bit more concerned about is Eagles, Bills, and also Steelers, Browns.
Yeah, looking at the Eagles game, so that one will be in Orchard Park later on today. Again, it's such a weird, just 2-game afternoon slate. But most of that rain that's going to be projected for Buffalo will be earlier in the afternoon, looking at 0.1, 0.12 inches per hour. So that's the area where you start to see things start to change from a play calling standpoint. But looking at the forecast as of right now, most of that stuff should be out of the way by the time kickoff rolls around. So I'm not seeing, outside of potential for field degradation, we shouldn't see too much impact from a play calling standpoint. And then for Cleveland, I mean, looking at that, again, we already know who most of those players are going to be in that game anyway. So I'm not really too terribly concerned about how the touches are going to be distributed, 18, 19 mile per hour winds. But we've seen games with heavy winds in there beforehand, even slightly over 20 miles per hour. But because that stadium can be something of a barrier in order to block some of that wind, unless it gets into the 24, 25 mile per hour winds, I'm not too worried about it.
Enough there. So I know some of your guys' questions. We'll have to edit it with the wins, but I will say, guys, if you are again using our Start Sit tool brought to you by Xfinity, that is all powered by Mr. Dwayne McFarland's projections as well as Matthew Freeman. They are actively accounting for all this win stuff. So don't be double counting a lot of this stuff again against what we are selling you because, again, we really have already been taken into account. With that said, Chris, let's get into it. We already got some questions filling up in the chat from our guy, the Ocho, starting off in 2 championships this week. Hell yeah, man. Go get those dubs. Let's see. Hurts or Lawrence? The weather is scaring me with Hurts. Immediately get a weather question. Warranted, Chris. I get it. I understand it too, man. Hurts has been just, I don't know. We haven't seen a tush-push touchdown in 4 or 5 weeks. I actually do have Trevor Lawrence ahead of him in our consensus ranks. How are you feeling?
No, I like Trevor, and not just for the fact that he's been essentially the QB1, QB2 over these last 4 or 5 weeks, but we still get the same. But we also get the same rushing component that you would expect out of Jalen Hurts. The passing efficiency has been there, and honestly, it's been the same thing that we saw out of Baker Mayfield and Liam Cohen's like last year with the Bucks, where we saw career highs for Baker Mayfield as a rusher. We're seeing the same thing out of Trevor Lawrence, and so not to say that Lawrence didn't have that in his bag. I mean, we saw some of that throughout the first couple of seasons with him, even when it was just Urban Meyer trying to keep like the Jaguars down throughout most of that first season for Trevor Lawrence. So I like both the upside, also going up against this Colts offense where Philly Rivers keeping the Colts well enough in the game that the other team has to fight back. So it should be a good back and forth type of atmosphere for Trevor Lawrence to at least be a top 3 quarterback in week 17.
This is a really tough one with Hurts, Chris. He's been one of these guys where, just over the years, I've never really cared about his matchups that much because he can have a
Yeah.
bad real life game, but just fall into the end zone a couple times. But obviously, week 17, last game of the year, can't hold anything back now. Our consensus ranks have Drake May, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy, and Jacoby Brissett ahead of Jalen Hurts. Any of those making you hesitant, Chris? Because I kind of think that's the line, man. It sounds wild.
Yeah.
Normally wouldn't have Brissett and Purdy, but really good matchups respectively. And just, again, if it's going to be a downpour also in Orchard Park, man, I just don't think that's the spot I really want to be, selling out for.
Yeah, and also there hasn't been too much discussion about it as of yet, but I'm actually fairly concerned about this foot injury for Josh Allen because I was just talking about the back and forth atmosphere for the Colts and Jaguars. I do wonder if there's going to be less of that in this Eagles Bills game because we saw in the second half of the Bills game last week, Josh Allen didn't scramble, and we do know that his pass catches are something a little left to be desired. So the Bills are really just relying on their receivers, got both Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, Dalton First Aid, according to Pat Thorman. Hell of a nickname from that man. But if their tight ends are also banged up, this could be a low scoring type of atmosphere for the Bills Eagles. So I think I'd still rather go with Trevor Lawrence. But I think that's the line that you had earlier about where I'd try and slot Jalen Hurts.
So again, coming as our consensus, QB9 cannot remember a time that he was that much lower. Josh is QB3. So again, certainly taking that into concern, but it is also Josh Allen. A little bit tougher for me there. Also from the Ocho, need to start 4. Who do we got? Weather concern for AJ Brown does scare him. So we got AJB, Chris Olave, Drake London, Mike Evans, Michael Wilson, and Travion Henderson. So Olave and Evans, slam dunks. I prefer Henderson. And then it's AJB versus Drake London at this point. I did not like the way London looked last week, Chris. I'm a little bit on an island. I got him more as like my wide receiver 18 this week. Everyone else is kind of saying he's still got the targets, top 10 enough wide receiver, but I think I'd stick with AJ Brown. I know the weather's bad, but I don't think it's going to be like Jalen Hurts for 70 yards bad. And as we've seen over the better part, since AJB complained about his job on Twitch, really has been getting force fed the football. So I go AJ Brown, Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Travion Henderson.
Yeah, I'm 100% with that. I would feel better about Drake London if we saw him upgraded to a full practice at any point throughout this past week, just limited across the board. And this is the same guy that wound up re-aggravating the same PCL injury that knocked him out for multiple weeks last week. So if there's even a slight risk of that happening again this week, I know he wants to try and gut it out and play, but I'm not trying to risk it with the fantasy championship on the line.
I am with you there. From our guy, Gut Checker, go with Juwan Johnson or roll the dice with Kittle. We are not expecting Kittle to play. And honestly, guys, again, it's highly unlikely. So if you really want to try to take that chance, more power to you. But I would not be doing it when you have someone like Juwan Johnson in fold. So again, desperation. All right. If you have Colston Loveland, that's cool because they play in the same game. If you want to go back down the well with the Rams tight ends, they play on Monday night. Or if you do have Kyle Pitts, you can F around and find out. And that was also our guy Ross wondering Kittle if he plays or Pitts. So again, don't think Kittle is going to play if there is a miracle where you're set up well enough anyway to still have Pitts in your back pocket. But yeah, really would not be expecting Kittle, everyone. Again, from Gut Chucker, London or Jennings as the last healthy wide receiver in San Francisco, PPR. Again, Parasol is expected to return. that said, we've seen this in both years now, Chris, where Ricky does kind of come back and play through pain. He does literally absolutely like nothing out there. They barely even throw him the football. So he's been fantastic when healthy over these years, but again, just extended stretches of time where he's getting nothing done. So I still have Jawan Jennings a little bit ahead of Drake London. Again, that's on an island, but just hated what I saw last week, Chris. And I would not be surprised at all if we see this Kirk Cousins offense that, let's face it, has been okay, but now you ask them to go up against the Rams, like a legit, really good real life defense. I can see the Falcons scoring 10 points, like all from Bijan Robinson in this one. So give me Jawan Jennings
On that one. Then also, folks have been checking out the utilization report that's available on the site. You can see how Jennings is mostly being used once they get into the red zone. A lot of his targets are some of those end zone targets. Those are the money touchers for wide receivers. So he might not have the same volume as I would say your top end, like wide receiver twos, where he's getting 7, 8, 9, 10 targets per game or anything like that. But if he's still going to get used, like once they get into the red zone, no George Kittle, a banged up Ricky Pearsall, I would much rather have Jawan Jennings in my lineup than Drake London.
Xfinity Star Sit disagrees again, as do 4 of our consensus rankers. So if you guys do want to go ahead and go at London, you are not alone or anything like that. But just also, man, these last 2 seasons, we've seen it. London has not been his upside wide receiver oneself with Kirk Cousins. That's usually been with Michael Penix throwing him 15, 16 tight window targets, and it works out because they have a nice rapport. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, just not thinking we're going to see the best.
Since we both like Drake London, we both are down on Drake London. I'm going to go ahead and bet an anytime touchdown for Drake London just to cover my bases here.
Ladders up to 150, Chris. At least we'll make some money if we fall flat in our face. Also from Ross, Burrow or Brissett. Joe Burrow, man, looked fantastic last week, and I don't think Chris is going to be telling you anything different there with that one. So certainly expecting, Brissett to have a nice bounce back. I mean, that was the thing with Jacoby, Chris. Everyone's like, oh, the QB1 scam is finally here. It's like, okay, well, he did have 8 straight games as like a QB1. Now I have 1 dud. And, Trey McBride even dropped a touchdown in that game. Could have been changing things around too. So still would have Burrow over Brissett. And honestly, Burrow, if you want to rank him QB1, man, I wouldn't call you crazy. I have Drake May as QB1, but Joe Burrow is literally the only guy behind him.
Yeah, I mean, the only downfall for Burrow would be that because the Cardinals' defense is so banged up, could Chase Brown or Samaje Perine wind up banging in a couple of touchdowns? Really, that's the only downfall for Burrow at this point. But the Cardinals' defense has so many injuries to both their defensive front and secondary that there's just no case to be made for Burrow finishing outside of the top 6 at this point.
Also wondering, Diggs, Evans, or Tetero McMillan. I would be going Mike Evans, but man, I got Diggs all the way up there now as my wide receiver 11. So it actually is pretty close. With the Patriots guys, Kayshon Boutte out in the concussion protocol, Demario Douglas dealing with a hamstring injury, and Mac Hollins even got thrown on IR, kind of out of nowhere, I would say. He wasn't practicing this week, but I just wasn't even aware he was dealing with that big of an injury. So wheels up for Diggs, and also one Kyle Williams, who if you guys are desperate and need a flex, guys, has been, a big play. Wouldn't say machine, hasn't had that many catches as a rookie, but certainly has made some big plays. A lot of people very high on him, that are ball knowers, if you will, here for the future. So I will go Evans, man, but I really do hope that lineup is stacked because I would like to get Diggs in there otherwise.
Yeah, the only concern with Diggs coming into this game was if they're actually going to make him a full-time player. But I think Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, they don't have a choice at this point with the number of injuries that they've had. So, of course, we're going to be high on Diggs, and it's going to be Hunter Henry for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and not to do the whole contract incentive thing in week 17, but I do know Diggs has some, man. He had obviously an awesome game last week. And again, just they're giving him that full-time role now. They don't have a choice, as Chris said. So would not be surprised if we get a nice little hot stretch here for Diggs as the season comes to a close. Last one from Ross, 1 running back and 1 flex. Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, and Travion Henderson. Already started Javonte. Found the end zone for you before he had that shoulder injury, so that is good at least. Cannot sit Chase Brown right now, and that brings us to Kyron versus Travion. As good as Blake Corum has been in the last, 4 or 5 weeks, it hasn't stopped Kyron from also being a top 12 running back. Pittsburgh and LA, guys, they've had multiple top 12 running backs over the course of this last month. So it's been good there. I am between Kyron and Travion. I think, Chris, as much as Travion could crush it, like Kyron against the Falcons, I'd be shocked if he doesn't score a touchdown and have at least 80 yards. Like Kyron is ranked higher, top 10 back. Travion, close behind him. He's my RB13, but I got to go Kyron.
Yeah, and if you want to look at their situations, or at least try and project their situations for Week 17, Kyron is probably the 1A out of to Blake Corum's 1B. Whereas for this game, especially since Travion went into the concussion protocol, made it through it, of course, and he's going to play. But I could see a scenario where Ramondre Stevenson is the 1A and Travion Henderson plays the 1B type of role in this matchup against the Jets. And also, Henderson needs those explosives really in order to make his way as a fantasy asset. Whereas Whereas, I mean, Kyron Williams, he gets a lot of those short yardage type of work. He's still mixing in once they get into the goal line, even though Corum is the one getting in a lot of those touchdowns, and also mixing in in the 2 minute drill as well for Kyron. So he's getting most of those touches that we would need for fantasy production. So I'd still think it's Kyron over Travion just for this game, though.
Sorry, those three and not Javonte. You had to make the decision on Thursday. I didn't think
Yeah,
Trevon
it's a
was
tough
going to be
call.
playing at that point either. So,
Yeah.
hindsight, but yes, good luck, Ross. Last one about the Ocho. Are you worried about a blowout for May? Would you start Purdy over May? My thing with the blowout discussion, not that it's irrelevant, but like to get a blowout, guys, we got to score a lot of fantasy points in the first place. So I hear you.
Yeah.
We want the 60 straight minutes so we can get the Jacoby Brissett fourth quarter special and all that, but not enough to go beneath Purdy. I guess, I mean, my thing with Purdy, Chris, like, again, he's one of our top-ranked quarterbacks and everything. You shouldn't be afraid of it. But we do have a banged-up Parasol. We do have no George Kittle out there. And then you're getting to a point where it's like, all right, I mean, if the defense only has to focuses on CMC and Jawan Jennings, maybe they get a little bit less out of him than usual. So, again, not worried enough about the blowout potential to go lower than Purdy.
Not really. And also because May can also get there as a rusher, there could be enough production overall from the Patriots in order for May to get there. Same way as Purdy. So no, I don't really see that as I guess a downfall for Drake May in this game.
Side note, I think everyone's so excited about Diggs and Kyle Williams. This is overly so, but Hunter Henry, guys, again, obviously someone who will also be benefiting a lot from some of these other injuries in New England. Let's see, from Pumpkin Escobar, what's up, man? Faced Derrick Henry last night. Yeah, you do need some help, bro. We all do. Tyler Warren or Taysom Hill full PPR. Okay. I'm annoyed by this, but I'm happy you brought it up because, guys, I have the same Taysom Hill dilemma going on. I was looking this morning to try to find a little bit more about it. Obviously, Nick Underhill, a Saints beat reporter, fantastic follow over there on X. He said, when asked about Taysom Hill or Schultz, just forget about what Schultz is. This was before the game. There's too much variance in usage for me to play Taysom on my own team. I can't make that bet. Went on to say Taysom did a whole press conference about how they were calling plays with the purpose of making the most of his Superdome finale. Not sure it's predictive of what's next. So I get that, Chris, and I have come down. All right. I talked to you guys on Monday. I had Taysom as my tight end 7. He's not like my tight end 12, 13, but it is right alongside Tyler Warren. And I see what Underhill's saying, Chris, but at the same time, even in that game, man, he had a touchdown nullified on like a 16-yard reception. And just, I think his boost in playing time, not necessarily design touches. I don't think he's going to be throwing for another 30-yard touchdown, as the seconds are rolling off the clock. But they're down their top 3 running backs. Devon Vele is out of the picture. Foster Moreau's hurt. Like, I think they actually kind of need him to play running back and tight end right now. It's a reasonable enough matchup for the guy. Like, just there's so many injured dudes at these important positions, Chris, that even if Taysom's not going to be pushing for 20 opportunities like last week, I still think you can see 12 to 15, which is more than most tight ends could say. So, oh man, I'll check it. I think you face Derrick Henry, you need a boom. That's where I'm going, Taysom Hill.
Yeah, and I think the context of this would also push me in that general direction as well. So do I think that Taysom Hill is going to be used the exact same way that he was in week 16? Absolutely not. But from the points you just laid out, I mean, no Devon Vele, Devin Neal is hurt. The running backs, whether it's Evan Hall or Ajik Estime, aren't offering anything from a pass catching standpoint or even a rushing standpoint. So are they going to try and call his number enough in order to give him a send-off like they did last week? I don't think so. But with the number of injuries, they have to make offensive production somehow. And outside of Chris Olave, who literally just had to have back injections a couple of days ago in order for him to play today, I would say that it's good enough, or the things line up well enough for Taysom Hill to get enough volume for him to get there as a tight end 1, or at least a fringe tight end 1 for this week. So I'm with you there.
See, also from our guy, Pumpkin, pick 1, Jalen Waddle, Michael Wilson, or Wan'Dale Robinson. I got to check the ranks. These guys are all going to be in the same spot. Let's see. We got Michael Wilson, consensus wide receiver 22. We got Waddle as wide receiver 16. And Robinson's going to be at wide receiver 21. So same range. Are leaning towards Jalen Waddle. Obviously a Buccaneers secondary that hasn't really shown off anything good here in recent weeks. Waddle still looking, like his healthy fast self. Quentin Ewers wasn't great last week, Chris, but he was bad on his way to throwing for like 270 yards, which is more than a lot of bad backup quarterbacks can say. So I would still go Waddle here. I don't think any of these guys are in perfect positions, if you will.
Yeah, they just got behind the sticks against the red-hot Cincinnati offense, and then Ewers throws a couple of picks, and that's how you find yourself in the situation you did last week. So, no, I think Jalen Waddle and Wilson are perfectly fine plays. It should be enough of a back-and-forth environment for both of those teams such that their team should continue throwing. I don't know what to expect out of this Giants-Raiders game. Just last week, The Giants, they ran, I think, less than 50 plays total in that entire game. It's been clear for the past 3-ish weeks or so with Dart back under center that they're trying to play conservative enough that they get their franchise quarterback out of his rookie season healthy and into 2026 without too many other issues. So no, I'd have some general concerns about starting Wan'Dale Robinson, at least relative to those other two options.
Let's see. Our guy Wesley is wondering full PPR, Kyle Williams or Rashid Shaheed, return yards
Oh.
included, and they actually both do that. So,
Uh-huh.
man, I think I'll lean Kyle Williams there, Chris. He's getting the same, sort of return boost as well. And just again, lack of bodies in New England right now. I'm more confident in, them actually trying to throw the football than in Seattle. Give me Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I do like that in terms of how often you could see the other team punting off to Kyle Williams. Yeah, it's entirely possible that against Carolina that you could see Rashid Shaheed catching a few or taking a few punts and especially taking one to the house. But yeah, Kyle Williams in that matchup, we should see a definite bump in Kyle Williams as a receiver in that game, just given the amount of pass catchers that Drake May won't have in this game, then also the potential for more punts and kickoff returns. Yeah, I think Kyle Williams is the better option here.
I will say, guys, I'm not, completely tuned into return yards leagues and some of these more wonky scoring settings. So if there's a major projection difference, feel free to just go with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sit one for our guy Sky Raven, Michael Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Stephon Diggs, or Drake London. I think I'd still go London over Michael Wilson, Chris. We do have Marv, obviously back in the picture there. Could be a snap count. We'll see. But
Yeah.
also for the Bengals, they've been horrendous on defense, but the one spot they've been okay is actually slowing down opposing wide receivers. So that is around the line. Again, you guys don't even need to think about it too hard, or other rankers were not. But for me, I have Drake London as my wide receiver 18. He is just ahead of, Michael Wilson's literally wide receiver 20, Devonta Smith, Wan'Dale Robinson. So that's kind of my range for Mr. Drake London.
That I think from a game environment standpoint, could you see enough targets for Michael Wilson to get there in PPR? Yeah, I get it, but yeah, against the Bengals defense, at least their secondary, not the rest of their defense. God, yeah, I think Wilson is probably the one to sit there.
And then Tyler Shuck over Darnold is a consensus one from our team of alleged rankers. Thank you, Sky Raven. Wesley wondering, pick 2 in full PPR. Blake Corum, Devontae Smith, Kyle Monangai. I'm going with Corum and Devontae Smith, man. Not that Monangai couldn't get there, but just Corum on such a heater. And, Devontae Smith obviously doing his thing as well. It's full PPR, which I think hurts Monangai just a little bit, but I don't think I'm concerned enough about the conditions to go Monangai over Devontae, but it is crazy, Chris. We're like, Corum is the one I'm definitely starting here.
Yeah, and if I'm remembering right, Bears added Darnell Wright, one of their offensive tackles, to the injury report, and he will not make it. He did not make the trip to Santa Clara for their game against the 49ers. So one offensive lineman down for the Bears. So if you wanted to use that as a tiebreaker to sit Monangai, totally understand.
Say that the Tedero McMillan illness is precautionary more than anything. T-Mac should be good to go. Something that Jeff Jollington did echo, saying that he's expecting to play barring any change. So T-Mac scaring us here on this Sunday morning, but
flu game incoming.
Come with game time. Let's go. Devin Bryant, championship week. Let's go, man. Loveland, Strange, or Taysom Hill. These are the sort of options where I'm not going to be risking it with Taysom. Again, if you face Derrick Henry and you just need to hope for the explosion, I get it. But in this case, Chris, I believe that I'm going with, Colston Loveland. Yep. Consensus tight end 7 there in the ranks. As bad as last week was, and it was annoying for sure, he actually did run his season high in routes. So that's more cute when it happens in week 5, not in your fantasy semifinals. I get it. But it was good news, Chris, and hopefully we get, a post-hype bounce back here.
Yeah, 100%. I think I like him the best out of that group just because it's always tough to call with tight ends that are part of, let's say, diverse passing games. And that's where Brenton Strange kind of finds himself because we could see Brian Thomas, who's mixed in for 2, 3, 4 targets per game, get into the end zone. Jacoby Myers, of course, the wide receiver 1. And of course, Parker Washington popping up for one of his career games last week. I mean, there's just enough out of there. And didn't even mention Travis Etienne as a receiver. So there's enough there that I would downtick Brenton Strange and then elevate Colston Loveland out of that group.
Sky Raven wondering in full PPR, sit 1 between Pollard, Jaylen Warren, or Luther Burden. Probably Burden.
Burden?
So, I mean, Pollard's been on fire, and Jalen Warren's certainly doing his thing as well. So, again, love Burden long term, but probably going to be more of a 2026 thing, at least I would think. Cappy Dave is in the house, though. Half PPR running back, pick one. Henderson or Carter, worry about Hendo's game script. Nah, man, there's too much of a difference there. Carter only had like 11 carries last week, man. No pass game work. So, again, if we're looking all of a sudden at similar usage between Travion and someone else, just give me Travion against the Jets. And then a wide receiver, we need to pick one: Michael Wilson, T-Mac, or Burden. So it'd be between McMillan, again, expecting him to play, and then Michael Wilson. I can't get over that they played that game last week, Chris. Wilson has that ridiculous touchdown catch, and you look up and he only had 3 freaking targets by the end of it. So I'm still going T-Mac over Michael Wilson.
We already talked earlier about the concerns for Michael Wilson going up against the Bengals secondary. So yeah, give me T-Mac here.
Give me T-Mac. Let's see. Flex one, the guy's not picked. Oh, I see. Ooh, Michael Wilson or Carter, Chris. That's where I would be between. I think I go Michael Wilson.
Yeah, I think so. You can make the case for Michael Carter if the Cardinals do want to try and control the game on the ground, because the Bengals' run defense hasn't been that great. So let's say if they try and use that approach in order to keep their offense on schedule, I could see that. But again, that's more for a projection than anything else. Just me thinking through it.
For sure. Chief Matt won in half PPR with his flex: Jacoby Myers, DJ Moore, or Rico Dowdle. I believe after Burden was activated, before it would have been DJ Moore for me, but with that in mind, with Rico Dowdle, tough matchup, give me Jacoby Myers, who was putting up wide receiver 1 numbers before, a relative dud last week, but just tough spot in Denver. It annoys me, Chris, because we actually did see BTJ get the Pat Surtain shadow, which was why I was high on Jacoby in that matchup. But no, it was Parker Washington going off on Riley Moss instead. So just the way the cookie crumbles in fantasy land sometimes. But no, give me Jacoby Myers here.
Yeah, but still rocking around a 20% target share, even in that game last week. So I think there's enough there and enough pass volume across, and also that game environment we just talked about it earlier, that I like the way that one sets up for Jacoby than the rest of those guys.
Xfinity start sit tool is feisty today. I don't know if it's agreed with me once, Chris, so we'll see what goes on there. But it is leaning towards Rico Dowdle, and he'll get his 12 to 15 opportunities, guys. I just don't know if this is going to be the spot that we're necessarily going to be seeing boom. Rico has not been running nearly as well in the second half of the season. He's been missing some Wednesday practices. I wonder if he's a little more banged up than expected. But again, I just would not be thinking that all of a sudden trusting anyone really on the Panthers, other than T-Mac a little bit against that Seahawks D, is necessarily the route we want to go. Also wondering, in tight end half PPR, Loveland, Warner, Taysom. Yeah, we are Team Colson Loveland amongst that group. Our guy, Greggy D, is in the house. What's up, man? Yeah, I hear you, man. It was a hell of a weekend. Super tilted that D. Henry is going to be a deciding factor in the BBM finals. But football question: Ibuka or T-Mac in full PPR, projected to win by 20. I got to go T-Mac, man. Ibuka has been a wide receiver 4 now for the last 2-3 months. So just, yeah, I mean, you're projected to win by 20 as well. I could see the case that maybe Ibuka has whatever the case is, man. Give me T-Mac.
Yeah, give me T-Mac. I've been talking with Matt Harmon about this for the past few weeks, just trying to decipher what's going on with this Bucs receiving room. And honestly, one of the biggest things that he's pointed out, which I also agree with, is that just having Ibuka essentially walk into having to play this ISO X receiver role because Mike Evans went down so early, and not having him try and at least move into the slot a bit more, which we did see earlier parts of the season. And now with both Mike Evans back, Chris Godwin on the field, having to find, and also something going on with Baker Mayfield, whether it's the injuries or whatever, there's just been enough volatility within that entire offense that it doesn't set up well for, I would say, quote unquote, normal fantasy season for somebody like Ibuka. So I'm looking more towards 2026 as a time for them to figure stuff out with them and what his role is going to be. But yeah, I think better days ahead, but it's just not going to be for this week.
Mayfield really, ever since his MVP campaign, went crashing down. So again, a lot of factors going into it, but certainly has been on the tail of, basically 5 weeks versus the rest of the year this year for Ibuka. Our guy C. Jenkins is wondering, Loveland or Parkinson. We are going Colson Loveland over Colby Parkinson. Parkinson's still a low-end tight end 1, but again, Loveland for us actually is tight end 7 in the consensus ranks right now, so feeling good there. Skyraven wondering in PPR, Ramondre, Godwin, Harrison, or Breece Hall. Here we go. I think it's Brees Hall, Chris. I don't love it, but it's kind of like the Genty thing from last week where you can move him down. But when we get these sort of questions and there's no slam dunk, like give me the running back most likely to see the 15 to 20 touches. And in Brees Hall's case, tiebreaker between him and Ramondre is Brees can break the big play if you give him enough chances.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking either Brees Hall or Ramondre Stevenson, because even in the game last week after Travion went out, we saw, Drake May took a shot to Ramondre Stevenson down the right sideline, and it was just outside of his reach. Maybe it was Travion because Henderson has a bit more speed to him that would have been completed for a touchdown. But still, I think between the two of those guys, it's Brees Hall just for the upside there.
Xfinity start sit tool in agreement. Love to see that. Also, we'll note, guys, Patriots, man, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, we got Kyrus Tonga, we got Milton Williams. Like they have 4 to 5 defensive starters out in this one. So it's the Jets, might not matter at all. I get it. But hey, hopefully, better days here for Brees Hall. Also wondering Burden or Corum, and I will be going with Blake Corum there pretty confidently in that one. Again, Greg, not expecting Kittle to be there. Could certainly plug in Tyler Warren. I would be trying to do that. Just again, we are not expecting George Kittle to play right now. If that changes, so be it. But when you get the highly unlikely report, guys, I treat it like doubtful. From Chivalry King, good for you, man. Juwan Johnson, Colson Loveland, or Mike Gesicki in standard. So not Gesicki. It is interesting, though, if you guys are in, a bit of a pinch there. I know he has low projections on Sleeper and ESPN or wherever you guys play, but he actually did take the full-time big slot role 2 weeks ago, and then T. Higgins came back, and they actually just kind of bumped Andre Yoshivash and, Mitchell Tinsley's reps down. So Gesicki is getting a full-time role. I like him more as a tight end 2-ish. Between Juwan and Colston, Chris, I have Juwan one tight end spot ahead. I guess my thing would be as great as Taysom was last week. Juwan was pretty nice too. And I think it's just, again, everything in this passing game being consolidated without Devon Bailey in the fold. Obviously, Tyler Shuck doing his thing. So I would still lean Juwan Johnson over Loveland, but that one is really close.
Yeah, 18% target share for Juwan Johnson since his boy Tyler Shuck has taken over the offense. 20% target rate just this past week. And the Titans defense has been something of a pass funnel over these last 6 or 7 weeks with the number of defensive injuries that they've sustained. So yeah, I would take Juwan Johnson just from the way that entire Saints offense has been cooking over the last couple of weeks over Loveland here.
Titanic am I going down with, Jackson Dart or Jacoby Brissett? Well said. I'm going with Jacoby, man. And Jackson's had, last week was so far and away his worst performance. I don't want to assume that's going to be the case moving forward. But left tackle Andrew Thomas is out of the picture. Yeah. And just as much as that Raiders defense without Max Crosby hasn't anything to fear, this Giants team, man, they've been so willing under Mike Kafka just kind of run the ball and not even, feign competitiveness out there. And that really was rough last week. So I'm hesitant and expecting to bounce back. I think Jacoby's still going to throw the ball 40 times in a game that could be a shootout.
Somebody fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure at the end of the first half for Jackson Dart last week, it was 5 attempts, 2 completions for maybe 1 yard or something like that at the half last week. So yeah, I don't want Jackson Dart my starting lineup in week 17.
He just wasn't handling the pressure well at all, man. It was one of those things where when Dwayne and I were talking about it initially, Dwayne thought I was going to be all upset about the lack of pass attempts. I'm well, they were trying. He just kept getting sacked every single time they did it, man. So tough to really get the volume up when that is happening. Yeah. From our guy, big fan. It is a great day to be great, man. Appreciate you. PPR toss-up championship. Need 1 tight end and 2 flexes. Strange with Taysom Hill. Going with Bretton Strange there. Again, if you're facing Derrick Henry, that's kind of our guideline right now. If you need a freaking miracle, let's go ahead and go with Taysom Hill. But if you have a legit top 10, Colston Loveland, Bretton Strange, Juwan Johnson type, we're going to be taking those. And then he needs 2 flexes out of Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyle Monangai, Luther Burden, Blake Corum, or Kyle Williams. I'm going Blake Corum. Yeah. Next one's tough, Chris. Maybe Marv. I think I have him the highest. No, I have Luther Burden ahead, and honestly, I kind of like that. Probably Luther Burden.
Yeah, Burden there, I think would probably be the better option.
Burden versus Kyle Williams.
I like Burden just for the fact that we have seen Caleb Williams go in his direction a couple of times, even when it will, especially with Roma Dunze out. So Kyle Williams, yes, he could be there for a big play or two, but I do just have the general concerns about what that entire game and environment is going to look like for the Pats. Are they really going to have to open it up and have Drake May huck it downfield a bunch of times to Kyle Williams? Whereas with Luther Burden, I could see the 49ers continuing to have that back and forth environment between them and the Bears that there should be enough volume for Luther Burden.
We do have Burden over Kyle Williams, Nick Finney start sit tool. So again, a big fan. We'll be going with Brenton Strange, and then Blake Corum and Luther Burden. From Heidi Rice, trust Drake London PPR. We left a Colson Loveland or Michael Carter instead. At that point, just go ahead and give me Drake London there.
Yeah.
But I hear you with the issue. Greggy cursing is, frowned upon. I wouldn't say it's not allowed though. But Juwan Johnson or some other waiver trash. No, come on. Juwan Johnson, guys, he's been great this year. Large part, okay? He had a little dud there when he was a little banged up, and now he's been doing good things. Leoc, I-O, baby. Let's go. Big Wednesday night coming up for Buckeye Nation. Let's see. PL Bernstein, half PPR. DJ Moore, Diggs, Henderson, picking 2. Give me the Patriots there. DJ Moore's been scoring and everything, but you bring Luther Burden back and that was an amazing catch, Chris. Not taking that away from him, but we're still playing like a kind of need a touchdown here game for DJ Moore. And he's been scoring touchdowns, but just Travion and Diggs are top 13 players for me at each position. Okay, it's that easy.
Yep, wrote up DJ Moore this week in the wide receiver cornerbacks matchup column. More as like a matchup to target, but still it's kind of in that sneaky type of play category just because DJ Moore, he needed that extra quarter in order to really cement himself as a wide receiver one. He just had one more target than Olamide Zaccheaus at the end of regulation. So that is also one of the more diverse passing games, especially with Roma Dunze out. Whereas now if we're adding Luther Burden into the mix as well, I'll take the Patriots guys over DJ Moore. Probably wind up being wrong because of the explosives and how often Caleb Williams targets him downfield. But if we're just looking at raw projection, I think Diggs and Henderson should have the safer floors out of over DJ Moore.
Had more than 7 targets in the game all season long. So again, nothing's really been easy for him out there. And that's why when, again, we do have good spots for Diggs and Henderson, just give me that. From KG's World and half PPR start 2, Travion, Bucky, or ETN. Sorry, Bucky, find a seat on the bench, man. Like his role really isn't any different than Travion right now, except Travion actually, I think we could believe gets more pass game work. So Bucky obviously not getting the goal line stuff and just hasn't been explosive at all, man. I think he's second to last in the league right now in yards per carry among qualified running backs. So maybe playing a little bit banged up, hasn't been the hugest sample size for him. But no, give me Travion and ETN.
Yeah, I know. Bucky Irving has been getting Sean Tuckered like once they get inside the 5. So no, I would rather take the guys that either have the ability to rip off explosive plays, which we've seen from Travion, or are also going to be used in the passing game like we've seen from Travis Etienne, not Trevor.
That said, from our guy Greek 6223, I would be taking Bucky in this one. Half PPR, need 3. Bucky, Stevenson, Warren, Tracy, Carter, or Corum. I'm going with Bucky, Tracy, and Warren, I believe.
Bucky, Tracy, or Warren. I would say Bucky.
Corum's hanging out there.
Yeah, I was going to say Bucky, Corum.
Yeah, no, I have Corum ahead of Tracy, and I believe in my previous ranking self.
Yeah, so okay. I'd say, how about Bucky, Tracy, Corum?
What about Warren? I think it's Jalen.
Oh, now I'm overthinking it.
I got Bucky and Warren as definitely, and then I think it's between Corum, Carter, Tracy.
Yeah, I'll go that. Bucky, Warren, Corum. Yeah. Cool.
Same page. We got there. Anthony Golding. Do I start Tunges over Strange with the highly unlikely to play tag for Kittle? Nah, I just go with Strange at that point, man. I put Tunges in and everything, but he's just not quite in the top 10 like Strange's.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if we're going to see like the same target share that you would typically reserve for George Kittle go to him. Yeah, I know Tunges had that big game early in the season, but that was with Mac Jones, if I'm remembering correctly, as the starter. So it's hard to say if Purdy is going to lock in on him just as often as Mac Jones did. So yeah, give me Strange here.
Heather needs 2 wide receiver, 1 RB, 1 flex. Let's see. Your 2 wide receivers will be Mike Evans and Tedero McMillan. We're definitely starting Chase Brown. So then the flex is between Stevenson, Warren, and Michael Wilson. I'm going Jalen Warren over Michael Wilson. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, Brown's run defense has been something of a problem over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, give me Jalen Warren there.
And then we do have May just ahead of Burrow. Again, we're talking about quite possibly literally the top 2 plays on the slate, though, at quarterback. Just a matter of, again, I guess tiebreaker could be May's legs that, we aren't getting the same upside from Joey B. But if it's 5 or 6 point pass touchdown, I certainly get it. And then Juwan Johnson over Goddard, given the elements and Bills' tight end defense being awesome. And then for DSTs, Saints, Rams, Jags, and Browns. Let's see here. I have a hard time trusting the Browns, just not because of their defense, but just because their offense is so bad. They can just set them up in bad spots. And also, I don't
Conspiracy
think
theory for the Browns is they're going to at least get one sack, and Aaron Rodgers is going to give Myles Garrett the sack record today. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, they could get one or two or everything, but just the way Rodgers will play, like he's not going to famous last words probably, but I don't think he's just going to sit back there and take 7 sacks like JJ McCarthy or something.
Nah. It'll
He'll
just
get
be
the ball out.
It's just
Yeah,
one,
throw
right?
for 100 yards, but I think just one.
Yeah, Garrett just needs one, and yeah, Aaron Rodgers to be the one that gives Myles Garrett the record. I'm pretty sure it's on his mind.
So I would say, let's see. I would prefer the Rams. I'd go Rams, Jags,
Saints, Browns. Yeah.
Cam Ward's been playing better. Phillip Rivers, guys, like, okay, he did throw the pick 6 there at the end of the game last week. But again, he's similar to Rodgers. So I don't think he's going to be tanking this game necessarily, just a savvy vet able to make quick decisions. Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins, I don't know if we're quite giving him that same benefit of the doubt here. And Rams defense, just overall, I think the best unit. So good stuff. Appreciate you, Heather. From Michael Corum or Dylan Sampson in full PPR. Definitely going Blake Corum there. Again, with Sampson, he is back in the picture, but between him and Rocket Sanders, not quite sure. Jaws Bryce, yeah, play Genty. Man, we are expecting the usual workload and everything, so I know people were worried about that, but feeling okay enough. Genty versus Mike Carter, yeah, we're going Genty here. Maybe we're not last week, Chris, but again, based on what we have seen, just based on more so that Cardinals usage, man, not feeling too great about Michael Carter.
Yep, 100% there. And just a weird tweet from Schefter talking about the healthy players for the Raiders that are going to play and just needing to put it out there that they do have healthy players they are going to play, and Genty is among that group. So if we have to at least take that at face value and go with Genty here.
Is freaking crazy. What's funny to me though, Chris, is like how shamelessly they're tanking and like the uproar. I mean, where like this happens in the NBA literally every freaking day, it seems
right.
Like. So one time for this game, the NFL community is like, what is going on? Okay. Ball game, Michael Carter at Cincy or Kenneth Walker at Carolina. See, that's like a good spot to be worried about Michael Carter. I'm going to ride the hot hand though, I think. Yeah, I'm still going with Kenneth Walker though, Chris.
I'll still go with Kenneth Walker, and I know that essentially if he doesn't score from outside the 20, he ain't scoring, but still, there should be enough volume or split between him and Zach Charbonnet that the touches should be there, and also Carolina's run defense, they've been up and down enough that I'd rather give it to Kenneth Walker over Michael Carter here.
Noting that with Rodgers, probably taking the sack from Myles Garrett that he just wants to one-up Favre in everything. So shout out producer Lamarca in the house. Mick Lopez, good morning. Happy holidays. Amen, man. We liking Hurts over Tyler Shuck. Yeah, I'm going over Shuck, man. I get it. Shuck's been playing well, but we can't quite go that low. Right, Chris? We can't go that low.
No, we can't go that low, but Shuck has played well. I think since week 8 when he took over, he is 12th in EPA per dropback as of right now. So it's just, the kid's been playing well, but not enough in order to put him over Hurts. And of course, he also has the rushing component to his game as well, but still just not enough for me to trust him over Jalen Hurts. But I definitely understand the logic, though.
Kevin Stevens, I would be going with Michael Carter in that predicament. Jared, I would be going with just Brenton Strange at that point. Again, Brenton Strange is like a consensus top 8, top 9 tight end for us. So not expecting Kittle. I will go ahead and take Strange over Colby Parkinson. Joey, we will go Jalen Warren over Ramondre. I'm fine playing both Steelers running backs. They have both been top 12 over the course of the last month. And no DK Metcalf, man. I just think we're going to see more touches fed straight to them. Jam needs 2 flexes. Here we go. PPR, Coker, AD Mitchell, Trey Tucker, and Dylan Sampson. I know. AD Mitchell for sure. It sounds like T-Mac's playing.
Yeah.
Probably Sampson over Coker. That's where I'm between, Chris.
Yeah, I kind of like that going Sampson just from a rushing standpoint. And also we've seen Dylan Sampson pop up for, multi-target games. I think he was up to 7 or 8 at the earlier parts of the season before Judkins was signed to the Browns. So I lean Sampson here out of that group, at least to go with AD Mitchell.
And he was good on let's see. Hey, AD Mitchell and Dylan Sampson. Appreciate you, Xfinity. And yeah, so Sampson, good to go. Hell yeah. Let's see. Where is my spot? Duke Dean, Telluride Bartender League, standard scoring.
All right.
Go. New replacement for Kittle. Tunges, Colston, Parkinson, Strange, Warren, Waller. Dang, your tight end waiver wire is looking nice. Appreciate you though, man. Yeah. Colston Loveland. Easy.
Give me Colson Lupton too. I guess I've seen Colby Parkinson's name like pop up a couple of times already, and I'm just wondering. I'll be the dumb one here. What's the allure with Colby Parkinson? Because we saw even last week when Devontae Adams was out that it wasn't Colby Parkinson getting a ton of targets. They were getting Terrence Ferguson involved, Davis Allen involved. I mean, there's. I guess I'm just wondering if they're to check your waiver and see if there's some other options available at tight end other than Colby Parkinson just because Devontae
God,
Adams is out.
2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he had literally scored 6 touchdowns in 6 games before the dud, that the
Yeah.
dud heard around the world in week
Yeah.
16. So I just think we realized that, Parkinson more of a low end touchdown dependent tight end one as opposed to someone who needs to be in a lineup. So that's why, again,
Yeah.
give me a Loveland there, but appreciate you, bro. AJ Hawk's Toxic Finger is in the house. Merry Christmas, man. PPR pick 2. Ramondre, Michael Carter, Dylan Sampson, Kyle Williams, and Luther Burden. Oh, the Henderson week 8 drop. We all have skeletons, man. That is rough. But America loves a comeback here. Give me Michael Carter. Probably Carter and Luther Burden, Chris.
Case for Ramondre just because he will see a few targets here and there because Drake May was looking for him, not just on that one pass down the right sideline, but a couple others as well. So I would say you can make the case for Ramondre, but I do like Michael Carter and Luther Burden the most out of that group. I would say outside of that, I would say close or I'd say honorable mentions would be Ramondre and Dylan Sampson, as we were just talking about Sampson's upside as a receiver since it's full PPR.
Kirk Johansson, Mike Evans, or AJ Brown full PPR. I'm not tanking AJ Brown the ranks, but like that kind of is my line. Like I have Evans, Chris Olave, Nico Collins, didn't quite work out as well as we wanted, but like those were the guys I had ahead of AJ Brown and kind of underneath. That's when we get to the, Pickens, Higgins, Jameson, a little bit more up in the air wide receiver too. So Evans over AJB.
Yeah, Evans over AJB, and we've seen almost immediately after he came back how quickly he was able to ascend into the wide receiver 1 role for the Bucs. Almost a 30% target rate in that first game in prime time, and then shortly after that, still over 20%. And as we were talking earlier about Egbuka falling down the totem pole for the Bucs, I mean, it really has been Mike Evans really sitting at the top of that same pole. So yeah, give me Mike Evans here.
Full PPR, Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, or DJ Moore. In full, Chris, I got to go Gainwell. He's going to catch 6 passes out there. And yeah, if Jalen Warren rips off, another multiple 45-yard touchdown runs, okay, then he'll get the job done. But I just think with no DK Metcalf, Kenneth Gainwell might as well be Pittsburgh's wide receiver 1.
100%. I mean, we'd already seen him getting up to close to a 20% target share when Metcalf was still in the lineup. So now without him, you have to assume that at the very least, his floor should be around 7 targets. So yeah, give me Gainwell out of that group.
Checking to see if any big updates. All right. Rap Sheet did say the status of 49ers tight end George Kittle is in doubt, but he's intent on working out to see. That's just not good enough for me, man. But he's kind of going against Shefty a little bit.
Yeah.
Rap Sheet Shefty War. The great Rap Sheet Shefty War of December 2025. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, Cappy. London's not feeling good for me either, man. Origami Harvest, full PPR. Should I wait for Kittle Tunges or start Juwan Johnson? Yeah, so let's see. For those of you really in a bind, because we're getting a ton of Kittle questions, I would say like right around. So I have Trey McBride, Fannin, Pitts, Juwan, Loveland, Henry, Strange, Goddard, Warren. Probably move Warren ahead of Goddard. That's about the line for me, Chris, where maybe then you can start waiting. But man, just make sure you guys have like a reasonable Tunges, Parkinson, Ferguson. Now we're kind of in that same range anyway. But man, if you have one of those top 6 guys, just don't even chance it. All right, let's see. Darth Carter starting Fannin. We are expecting him to go. And I would go Fannin over Strange. It doesn't sound like the Gordon's going to be holding him back. Cam Ward over Kirko Chains. Yeah, I think so, man. Cam Ward's been playing some good ball these last few weeks. I know it's the Titans, so no one cares. And, I get it. But yeah, give me Cam Ward.
Yeah, Titans are going to make a ruckus in the AFC South next season, man. The Cam Ward, I think that dude can play. And like Chim DK, I think that offensive core is going to be one of everybody's going to be writing about them in their sleeper columns over the offseason, dude.
I like that call. CGD Bell. All right. Half PPR start 3. Tedero, Monungai, Corum, Michael Carter, and Sampson. Tedero, Corum, and Michael Carter.
Yeah, give me that group. I mean, Samson, I think, is the only other honorable mention there, but Benungai, I'm just downgrading the Bears running game just a little bit with some of the offensive line considerations, or injuries, rather.
Darth Carter, I am more down for Kittle or Burden over Trey Tucker. So however that works out for you, I would not be starting Trey Tucker over either.
Yep.
Let's see. Origami Harvest, full PPR, one wide receiver, one flex. Higgins, Evans, Genty. Oh, a kicker question. I don't know. Whoever is projected more, probably Myers. But I go Higgins and Evans still, I think, over Genty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine by me. And then for the kicker, I mean, I'll advocate for my guy McPherson, Money McPherson. Why not?
Why not? Indeed. Again, Evans over AJB. Henry or Loveland. Still going Loveland, but again, Henry does deserve the bump up there. So Henry is a top 8 guy for me as well. Just got Loveland a little bit ahead. Mike Carter or Parker Washington. Parker Washington, man, he makes plays and everything. I just think that was kind of a rare occurrence here. I would expect the passing game to more so go through BTJ and probably mostly Jacoby Myers here. So give me Michael Carter.
Yeah, and there was also a game where they were essentially playing that one up until midway through the fourth quarter or so when Bo Nix threw that back-breaking interception. Whereas I don't know if we're going to be able to see the Colts really put up much of a fight like throughout most of it, with as well as the Jaguars have been playing from an offensive standpoint, and their defense is fairly tough too. So yeah, I'd rather Mike Carter than Parker Washington.
Again, right now, like Dwayne and I actively have Kittle out, and we have Tunges tight end 20, tight end 23. So we're not completely going crazy with Taysom, but certainly is ahead of that. And then AJB or Bucky. I think I'm still going AJB, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, especially for all the workload concerns for Bucky, Rashad White mixing in as the receiver, Sean Tucker getting in on the goal line. Give me AJB where I don't have to worry about much of that from a workload standpoint.
This one's kind of wonky. Alfredo. Half PPR needs a flex. You get 10 points for a receiving touchdown, 5 points for a 100-yard bonus.
Okay.
Waddle, Fannin, and Burden. That's interesting. I think I'm still just going Waddle and Fannin. Or wait, is it we just need one? Give me Waddle.
Yeah, it's either Waddle or Fannin for me, and I'll take Waddle here.
Yeah, just enough of a concern with the groin.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should I consider Taysom Hill Fannin? I think Fannin is going to be good to go, at least from what we've heard so far. Seth Zagarlo, PPR flex sit 1. Stevenson, Tracy, and DJ Moore. I'm starting Tracy out of that. So it's going to be between Stevenson and DJ Moore. I think I have Moore ranked higher. Yeah, so I'd be sitting Ramondre.
Yeah, give me DJ Moore there. I mean, if it was going to be just Ramondre by himself in the backfield, we'd elevate him up a bit. But yeah, give me DJ Moore for the upside.
Hoosiers Colts is one of many of us in a big hole after facing Henry. Godspeed, my friend. Pitts versus Fannin. With Drake London there, I am still feeling Fannin. And then Henderson versus Stevenson versus Warren. Consensus, Henderson. And then May versus Purdy. Drake May.
Yeah, 100%.
Gentry Farmer, 4-point pass touchdown, 6-point rush touchdown. Josh Allen or Jacoby Brissett. Oh, God. I just can't go that far, Chris. I get it. I gotta go Josh Allen.
I understand it. I'm definitely with you there. I'm concerned as well as Gentry Farmer is about Josh Allen's foot thing, but I don't think that Jacoby Brissett offers enough upside for me to start him over Josh Allen. I would say if it was somebody a bit closer in the ranks, I don't know how you would have somebody that would be a bit closer in the ranks, like on your roster with you with Josh Allen, but still, I need somebody a bit better than that or in a better situation to start them over Josh Allen.
Waz is like our award-winning ranker over at Fantasy Life, like the freaking king of this, all right, people. And even he has Josh Allen the lowest. Like he's concerned QB7. So is Jacoby Brissett, one spot behind there at QB8. So that is about the line if you want to do be pessimistic about it. Let's see. Yes, Gardner Zone. We're going Josh. Michael Regine, full PPR, dropping a Buka. Choose one, Parker Washington or DK. Well, among those guys, man, I kind of wish you would have kept the Buka.
Right.
I could take a shot on Pearsall now that Kittle's out. God, where do you fall on this one, Chris? So it's DK, Washington, or Pearsall?
I'll go with Pearsall there. I think once we saw enough of him, even though it was funny, after his first snap, he re-injured his knee in the last game that he played and came back and had a solid showing on a lot of those outbreakers. So if we're not going to see, or assuming we're not going to see George Kittle, I mean, the jury's still out on that one. But I would say if they're going to put Pearsall out there, knowing they're pretty much locked into the playoffs at this point, it's really just seeding that they're playing for. If they're going to put him out there, I would take my shot on Pearsall.
I do have Pearsall just a few spots ahead of Parker Washington. From Magsy, Tunges or Henry, Hunter Henry,
Out.
KG's, Taysom Hill or Loveland. Go with Loveland. A lot of tight end questions, but I really do get it. Max Genie, Warren, Stevenson, Henderson, Carter. Pick 2. Henderson and Warren. Pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, is there a case for Carter? Not over those guys. And the same thing for Stevenson. No, not enough there.
And then Evans, Higgins, or London. We just need one. Give me Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans for sure. I like the upside for T here in this game and just all the Bengals pass catchers, but still, I mean, this is going to be like that. At least the way it's setting up, all of the discussion throughout social media is going to be a Jamar Chase day.
Guards noun. Who day? Your response, Chris?
Who day?
There we go. Jadalmo, Burden, or K9 at the flex. Give me Kenneth Walker. Sedge Bedell, PPR flex. Burden, Carter, Waddle, Godwin. I'm guessing you just need one. Waddle, yeah.
Yeah, Waddle. I can't get too excited about the Bengals, man. The season's over. I'm kind of like Joe Burrow at this point. Yeah, he plays well. I mean, it happens a lot. That's cool.
Steelers over all the DSTs. I would go Patriots as my DST 1. Steelers could very well be second, though. Barner or Parkinson. I would still go with Parkinson over Barner.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're thinking that he's going to push his way into the end zone, AJ Barner. I mean, yeah, give me Parkinson.
If they don't outlaw that, man, one of these years we are going to see tight ends just going wonky.
It has to be banned this offseason. I'm assuming it's going to be banned.
Just because I think the NFL is tired with it, guys. Don't be yelling at me, Eagles fans. I understand. If
I
it was
think
up to
even
me,
the Eagles
do it. But
I think even the Eagles fans are over it at this point. They got a Super Bowl out of it. I think they're tired of it.
They're not even running it all the time anymore, too.
Right.
All right, flex, Samson Ibuka or Darren Waller. Give me Ibuka out of those guys.
Yeah, I'd say Ibuka just for the ceiling. Samson probably has the floor just because if it's 1 point PPR, Samson probably has the floor there, but Ibuka with the ceiling.
Corum, Monungai, A.D. Mitchell, or Josh Downs. Pick just one in PPR. Blake Corum.
Corum, yes. Yeah, I don't want anything attached to Tom Brady Cook if I can help it. So it's either Corum or Josh Downs because actually Josh Downs, when Phillip Rivers was getting the ball out really quickly, I think he averaged 2.41 seconds average time to throw. Most of his throws were in the direction of either Josh Downs or Tyler Warren. So I'd say he'd be the only other honorable mention out of that group.
Let's see. A few more, everyone. Appreciate you hanging out here on Championship Sunday. The Beast, James, full PPR flex. JT, Tracy, Burden, Taysom, or Fannin. Come on, man. It's JT. I know time's been a little bit rough. We're still going with JT. Let's see. Fannin or Hill. Fannin. Warren, if Kittle is out, still needs a running back. Dowdle, Warren, or Carter. Jalen Warren, right, Chris?
Yeah, Jalen Warren.
Let's see a few more here. Crypto Walk, Wandale Robinson or DJ Moore. I go Wandale over DJ just with Burden being back.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, they probably see the same amount of targets, to be quite honest with you.
Papa would go Tedderell McMillan over Trey Tucker, even with the late illness. We are expecting him to play. And then Loveland over Taysom. Derek's Ego, PPR Flex, Kyle Williams. Kyle Monungai, my guy. I was like, what the hell are you saying for a second? Marvin Harrison Jr. and Burden. Burden. I think we've gone over that.
Burden, yes.
Yep. Again, Panthers expect Tedder McMillan to play. That's good. LGND, Monungai, Sampson, or Burden. Yeah, still Burden.
Yeah, still Burden. I mean, Sampson probably a close second there.
Yeah, McMillan or Diggs, George. We will be going with Stephon Diggs. Again, no Booty, no Matt Collins. We are finally getting that full-time role for Mr. Stephon Diggs. Burrow or Stafford. We're going Burrow. Appreciate you, Darth Carter. Good luck to you too, man. Let's see. Austin, Flex PPR, Swift or Fannin. Ooh, I'm Swift.
Yeah, give me Swift.
Ooh, it's close, though.
Yeah, that one is kind of close. But yeah, I'll take Swift there.
I've been 32nd and 36. Thought it was closer. All right, Chris, from Greggy. January 1st, you had too many bourbons on New Year's Eve. Rank your cure. More bourbon, greasy eggs, bloodies, or it's Miller time, or hitting the gym. It's January 1st, man. Just give me more bourbon.
Just give me more bourbon at that point, man. And of course, that's probably going to happen on the Sunday after the divisional matchups when I see you.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, buddy. I also do agree with Greggy's love for some gummies. That's just good old America right there. Jonas Whale, Kyron Williams, or Kenneth Gainwell. I'm feeling Kyron Williams from that spot. Sam's Bay, Henderson, Evans, or Waddle. Evans,
Yeah.
Mitzer, Loveland over Strange and Tunges. Jeff, I'd still go Bucky over Jalen Warren, but we're getting closer, Chris.
Yeah, that's probably close there. I mean, we needed those two explosive runs from Jalen Warren in order for him to get there last week. So I think the workload should definitely be there. Brown's defense certainly sets up for that. But I'd say that's probably the line there where I'd start to look at other options over Warren.
Ooh, this one's really close. Jacoby Myers or Tyrone Tracy for Tyler. I have Tracy 2 flex spots ahead.
Oof. I'd lean just Myers for the upside and playing with a better offense. I think that's just kind of where I'm at this point.
Really is a toss-up. Good luck, Tyler.
Yeah,
Tiffany, we do have Diggs over Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, Mayer, Hill, or Tunges. That's where I'm just going Taysom Hill, guys. Again, not a locked-in tight end one, but over those dudes for sure. Chris Natty, Diggs versus Devontae versus Burton. We are going Diggs, guys. Again, the only problem here has been that route rate. We've seen it north of 80%. Given the injuries, we are expecting that to continue. So, can't wait to see how that goes wrong. Mr. Caden, Taysom, we will go him over Waller, Don Juan, Hendo, Pollard, Carter, pick 2. Hendo and Carter versus Pollard's close. I lean Pollard though, Chris. Where are you at?
Yeah, also lean Pollard, man. The dude's been playing really well these past almost a straight 3 straight games with over 100 yards. So I'll go Pollard.
He got ripped off from a touchdown last week. Jeffrey Simmons was after the game. He's like, I have a giant red sleeve and an elbow brace. Like, how does the ref not see me?
Right.
Warren, Loveland, Hill. Going Loveland. There we go. Had Henry last night. So I'm talking about, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Caden, DJ Moore, Michael Carter. I would lean Carter there. Sam Shea, Hendo, Waddle, Evans. I would lean Evans. All right. Last few guys. Hybridus, Brees Hall, Washington, or Quorum. I'm starting Kyron and the Pats D. Probably. Oh, man. Brees or Quorum. I have Quorum. It feels wrong, Chris. It feels like a Genty pick from last week, but
damn. I almost want to. The first name out of that popped in my head out of those 2 was Brees Hall, but that one's tough. I'd still say it's Hall though.
Yeah, and then with Kyron and Pat Steele, we're going both ways. Gainwell or Tracy? Give me Gainwell.
Yep.
Kittle out. Loveland, Mitz. Good luck to you, Jeff. Devontae Smith over DJ Moore, Chris.
Over DJ Moore? Oof, that one's tough. I think I'd still rather go DJ Moore.
Okay. Matt Stafford, man, get ready for your game. Gainwell, yes, over Warren. I have him by 1 spot ahead. Again, if it's full PPR, definitely Gainwell. Otherwise, I get going with Warren. Tedder McMillan over DJ Moore. Appreciate you, AJ. Hell yeah, man. And I think that's about it. Loveland over Waller. Lawrence over Hurts. Yep. Last one to you, George. London, DJ Moore, or Juan Dale, I'm guessing you meant.
Yeah.
I go Drake London out of that group.
Yeah, I'll go with Drake London there too.
And with that, thank you guys. Good luck. Me and producer Matt Lamarck are going to be back here tonight, just breaking down, some of the action. Not going to be our usual game-by-game recap to the same extent, but still be having some fun there. So if you guys want to hang out for that, please do so. Otherwise, please like the video if you like the video. And then, hitting that subscribe button always does help us do good things as well. So again, best of luck, Chris. Heck of a season with you, my friend. Looking forward to playing cards here in the near future. So for Chris, for producer Matt, I'm Ian. Thanks again, guys. Good luck. And until next time, take care, everybody.